When people think about World War II in Britain, they usually picture the Blitz, rubble, sirens, and double-decker buses stranded in the streets. But behind those surviving brick walls, another fight was happening, the effort to avoid starvation. In 1940, the British government took absolute control over the nation's diet. Open markets vanished, replaced by an official system of rationing that dictated exactly what a person could eat. This chart shows the total tonnage of food imports arriving in the UK. When the blockades began, the country lost its food supply. The line hits a cliff edge in 1940, leaving the population in a severe deficit. Finding even a fraction of normal calories meant waiting in endless queues outside empty shops. Women stood for hours just hoping a butcher had a scrap of meat left. Surviving meant ignoring the palate. Every meal became a calculation of the calories required to keep the body running until morning. The comforting family kitchen disappeared. In its place, the household became a desperate survival laboratory. The most immediate priority was raw energy. When hunger becomes a constant state, the brain stops prioritizing the smell or appearance of food. You only look for calories to stay warm. Families saved every drop of heavy, greasy animal fat from cooking pans to make dripping toast. They spread that thick fat over stale bread. It was a harsh meal, but it provided the energy needed to survive a freezing night. They also boiled things normally thrown in the garbage. Potato peels and leftover fish heads cooked for hours to extract trace nutrients. The resulting broth offered the physical feeling of a full stomach. Some families bought cheap, discarded butcher bones, scraping out the soft marrow from the center to spread onto hard bread. That fat provided the energy required for movement and warmth. Food had been stripped of its pleasure. Scraping together enough calories to reach tomorrow meant the difference between biological life and death. As official rations failed to sustain them, ordinary citizens began to resist the system. Families became strategists to secure the food the government couldn't provide. A secret economy emerged in the shadows. Families traded carefully wrapped black market butter after dark. This illegal trade offered a brief return to the habits of life before the war. Others went foraging for wild stinging nettles. By boiling the wild weeds, they completely destroyed the sting and unlocked vital nutrients missing from their restricted daily diets. In backyards and sheds, people hid unregistered rabbits. Even a tiny portion of fresh meat provided a massive psychological shift after bland meals. These secret trades and hidden gardens were a way to reclaim agency. People needed to feel they had some control over their own survival. As the war dragged on, survival meant protecting the mind as much as the body. Families engineered fake versions of beloved foods to shield children from the exhaustion of the shortages. The government aggressively promoted a meatless dish called Woolton pie. They sent out instructors to teach women how to bake a crust over diced turnips and potatoes to fill stomachs when the meat supply vanished. They also relied heavily on imported powdered eggs. The rubbery scramble didn't taste like the real thing, but it was a necessary substitute for mass feeding during the crisis. Compared to those pale powders, a greasy, fried slice of canned Spam felt incredibly rich. To a ration-starved child, that heavy, salty smell filling the kitchen was a rare event. Parents pushed these illusions further. They mashed parsnips with banana essence to make fake bananas, and whipped margarine with milk substitutes to create fake cream for birthday desserts. The adults knew these substitutes were fakes, but they played along anyway. Protecting a child's hope was just as critical as providing them with calories. Parents secretly stashed these cubes in floorboard crevices or old tea tins. A single gram of sweetness could stop a child's panic. For Christmas, mothers pressed potatoes, breadcrumbs, and scraps together into the shape of a roast to create a mock goose. Sitting around the table and carving a pile of breadcrumbs as if it were a holiday feast was an act of defiance. The world outside was being destroyed, but inside they kept their traditions alive. Sitting down to a fake goose allowed a family to maintain their identity while the world outside was being erased. These inventions provided a way to endure years of restriction with their sense of dignity intact. Today, most of us live with full pantries, but if you had to close your kitchen door tomorrow, could you survive a year living and eating